And this girl came running out, you know, in the village in the rain, in the pouring rain, no shoes. Half of her grass hut that she lived in was eaten by a trail of termites. But yet they're so happy.
Then it means in the way of how I am thinking, in the way how I am talking, I do not want you to get any harm from that. So that means what type of thoughts are you cultivating?
Here are the 4 rules to lead a happy life from Master Shi Heng Yi of the Shaolin Temple Europe and Tulan, founder and CEO of Ronin Tactics. Today's video is sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now get the Memento Mori poster that has 80 years worth of tiny little squares that represent a week of your life. It is a constant reminder that you are mortal. If you like the sound of that poster, use code STOIC with the link below for 10% off. But before that, here are the 4 rules to lead a happy life. Let's dive into the video.
Bruce Lee said, don't focus on the destination, it's the journey, all right? So we focus too much on what we perceive as our end state, you know? It ain't over until, well, you take your last breath. That can happen anytime. So it's better to refine one's character, right, than to live and die empty person. As in, you live and die meaning nothing. Have no meaning. All right? So, you can only do that by understanding how beautiful today is, you know, and how beautiful life is. So it's good to reflect on the journey and the people you meet along the way, because it's the journey that ripples. Life, birth, death, it's all one and the same. You can't have death without life, right? You can't have, you know, birth without death. And the thing is, what do you do? What do you do with this life when you have strength and youth? What do you do? Because we're gonna all die as old people one day, right? But what did you do in this lifetime when you had this energy, you know? Did you make a difference or not? You know, that's really up to you, and you know, and your choice. You know, your choice to be either something more in life or to live a life of just survival. You know, survival to me is, look, 200,000 years of programmed instincts. It was handed down through the hunter-gatherers. It was handed down by our forefathers through generations. Our human species had to survive. Through evolution, we migrated through this planet. Through segregation, we had formed different cultures, right? But we came from one thing, you know? We came from one place. So what I say is, in this lifetime and deserve, what do you stand for?
How do you balance goal setting and being in the moment and not getting too attached to the goal?
Well, you know, it's this, you know, if let's say I work for, okay, let's just say I work for this promotion, right? And I really work my ass off for this promotion. That's your perception, right? I worked at 2 o'clock in the morning, man, you know, at least twice a week, you know, and I worked overtime, and I deserve this promotion. That is your narrative that you placed on yourself. A expectation that's outside of your control, you see? So here you are on the day that they pronounce it, and then somebody else got the promotion, and you're like, what? I deserve a whole lot more, not knowing that this person works twice as hard as you. Twice as hard. With a more creative mind, right? But yet you are in this narrative that you deserve it. So you live in this life of being a victim, right? You live in this life of being a victim. But if you don't have expectations on things, you know what, man, I really I really want this promotion. So I'm going to work on myself, right? So what is the expectations of me getting this promotion? Like, what is the criteria, right? Okay, the criteria is being this management position, being in this, having this type of education, whatever the criteria, you have to study, you know. So then once you study what the criteria is, then now you can formulate a plan, can you not? And then once you formulate a plan, then you must execute this plan with pure focus every single day. And that's the journey. The journey. The journey is so hard because it requires commitment, routine, repetition, discipline. It requires that. It requires struggle.
Regardless of how old you are right now, how much of where you want to go did you achieve already? And also, are you actually still finding yourself on the way to wherever you wanted to go? So first of all, before we even know which future direction you would like to go towards, number one is we need to know where are we actually standing right now. So to know where we're standing is, observe your surroundings. They can give you an indication where you are right now. Look around you. One indication. Second of all, look inside of you. How do you feel about the way of life that you are at the moment living? You had almost 365 days from that current year right now. How do you feel about it? Where did it brought you? Where did you decline? Where were you able to increase something about you? So number one is find out what is the status quo. Where are you located at the moment? And it is similar, like sometimes in a few Buddhist stories we are saying, before you know in which direction to sail, first of all, you need to know where you're located. Because the journey is not for everyone the same. In the way of what we are trying to share, we are trying to share methods, certain principles. But ultimately what needs to be done is that an individual person is starting to take all of these methods and applies them very specifically to your own personal way of, let's say, understanding. Because sometimes people ask, so I want to go to, let's just say, I want to go to New York. But one person is asking that question while he's located in the UK. And another person is asking me that question because he's located in Japan. That means the answer is not going to be the same. The goal is the same, but the answer that I would need to be given would be a different one. And therefore it is very, very similar to now people asking, so this and that is what I want. What should I do? I don't know. I can only give like the tools. I can only try to give some ideas and some ways of how you can use the mind to more intelligently approach that idea of fulfilling the goal. But the ultimate plan, which direction to travel, is something everyone personally must do. But therefore, in order for you to know, to now start and making up the plan where the journey is going to go, number one, we figure out what is our current state. So this is number one. Do you have the proper understanding in what you as a human being at the moment are embedded in? Meaning, if you think this world is about you, think again. Maybe you misunderstood something. That's why the right understanding is something very, very fundamental for everything else to follow. Yes? Then afterwards, after let's say you understand, okay, let's just assume I understand or I can see apparently that there is a connection between us humans, between the people that you are dealing with. Let's just assume there is a connection. If there's a connection, merge together with the ethical conduct that you do not want to harm, which would normally automatically arise in the moment where you feel the connection. Then it means in the way of how I am thinking, in the way how I am talking, I do not want you to get any harm from that. So that means watch exactly what type of thoughts are you cultivating towards your colleagues at work. You regard them as being colleagues, that you are all working on the same mission, let's say. You're all pulling on the same rope, or you're regarding yourself being surrounded between your colleagues and this is about competing. These are moments where a thought can arise. Afterwards, same with the speech, same with the actions. Coming once again to the way how you are earning your daily life.
Right, and why I was saying about, you know, the human species, right, the 200,000 years, is that we have this survival mindset, this instinct that was handed down to, you know, over 200,000 years. You know, now the data is, you know, 400,000 years, you know. The thing is that this mind that we were given by the Creator, it's 200,000 years. Our mind's the same like back then in primitive state. So what I'm saying is, back in the hunter-gatherer days, we were a species, and I say this because, guys, I was a Green Beret and I lived with rebels and I ran with the tribes. I know what it means to be a hunter-gatherer because I had to live with the hunter-gatherers. I went through Malaysia, had to live in the jungle. So these hunter-gatherer species, which was us, have a survival mindset. They look at the dangers, right? As the predators. Think about when we were hunter-gatherers, you know, our ancestors, they had to look at the dangers because there's so much predators that can kill our human species. So we have to become intelligent. And throughout the years, it's called survival. It's so strong, this instinct. You don't believe me? Drop a ramp of an airplane, step off the edge, 24,000 feet, there's no oxygen, total darkness, stand there. You'll feel survival. You'll feel that instinct. The thing is, can you overcome this survival instinct of comfort? To seek comfort, right? Because now that's handed over through the generations, our ancestors, what kept our species alive is to seek comfort, to look at the dangers in the world, right? So now we look at the dangers in the world. What is the dangers in the world? Because we're not a hunter-gatherer species. We're domesticated for where, at least where I'm talking about, a majority of the world, we're domesticated. So what is the dangers? The dangers is you. The dangers is social media. The dangers are the voices, the doubts. The dangers are other people's opinions. The dangers, that's why you look at these negative things and you contemplate on them all day and you can't get it out of your mind. Why can't I get this negative thing out of my mind? I fucked up in life. Why I changed? Why can't I get this thing out of my mind? It's survival. It's in our DNA, genetics. But as a Green Beret, you know, I traveled around the world and then I saw primitive practices. I lived with the tribes, you know. I climbed mountains and I met the monks. And what I gather is this, you know, I was in Malaysia and I was doing jungle warfare training, you know. So let me put you in my state. We did survival training, which we had to live off the land, and and that was really hard. We started because we didn't understand really that type of survival. But after a month of that training, then we went into Malaysian tracking school. So it was back-to-back training, Malaysian tracking in the rain jungle, and it untouched land. It looked very primitive, this rain jungle. And then we graduated from that, and the following week we went into jungle warfare training. So it was back-to-back training. This training, you're wet, you're hungry, you're tired, you're not getting very much sleep because anything could kill you in this jungle. You're training, but people get killed by predators. They get trampled by wild elephants, boars, there are tigers. So you're a predator. But what I saw was when I went through this village, so we were doing this training, and look, there are bandits out there, so the threat is real. And we were moving through this village, and so the sniper set up an overwatch position. I pushed through, and these villagers came out, Let me put you on my state. It was a bad day for me. Back-to-back training. I was young, very young. I was 23 years old. Started feeling sorry for myself. I was hungry. I was wet. Leeches, all over your body. You're just tired. You're carrying combat loads. And we're a few months into this, and prickly heat, the jungle will rot you away. I was feeling really sorry. It was raining that morning. I was walking through the village, and these people came out and they danced, and they one guy tried to carry my backpack, and they're very loving and friendly people, very simple people. And this girl came running out, in the village in the rain, in the pouring rain, no shoes. Half of her grass hut that she lived in was eaten by a trail of termites, rats, squirm around these villagers, But yet they're so happy. So happy. So simple. So what I realized in life is that we complex ourselves with what we perceive as happiness. Happiness comes from community, fulfillment. It comes from helping others. It comes from working. When I say working, it's fulfillment. If you're given everything, you'll never have fulfillment. So that's what, to me, life is about, is it not? Fulfillment. So it's amazing that, I found that in Malaysia, in the most simple things. Masashi Miyamoto, the Ronin, once said that the answer is found in the smallest things, in the simplest things, in the deepest things, and in the shallowest things.
Thank you so much to Master Shi Heng Yi and to Tulam, two great people who I'm going to link down below who offer amazing insights and philosophies, so please go check them out. We have lots of new content coming from both of these people as we've just shot some new content, so hit the notification bell so you are notified when that appears. Today's video was made possible at Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now get the Momentum Mori poster, which is a poster that has 80 years worth of tiny little squares that represent a week of your life. At some point on there is a square that you will not fill in. And as morbid as that sound, it is a constant reminder that time is precious. So if you like the sound of that, use code STOIC with the link below for 10% off the poster. Thank you so much to everybody who supported us on Instagram as well. You can find me at Jordan Mulligan Brother and at Mulligan Brothers for more motivational content and behind the scenes. I hope you have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.